Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Revelations podcast. Today, my very welcome guest, Arjun Mishra. Arjun is a serial entrepreneur with a passion for using technology. Could you briefly introduce yourself and tell me about your journey into the tech space?
Thank you, Julia, for having me here. I've been in blockchain for over 13 years now. I started my career with a P2P lending platform where Axel Partners had funded us. Then we went on to build BlockCube. We did Teledgers. So in India, if anybody receives a message that is actually mandated to go across our blockchain, we implemented one of the largest deployments of blockchain globally. Currently, we process around 10 billion messages a month ourselves on blockchain, and I mean that's one of the largest deployment in blockchain across the globe. Then we started off Mizzle, which is our cloud platform. We also run a few enterprise consulting companies wherein we help enterprises use blockchain. We've been trying to drive the mass adoption of blockchain globally, and I mean, yeah, that's the whole journey that's been about. The last 3 years, our focus has been on creating more infrastructure for developers so that they can use it for different products like Docker, which is a document management platform for enterprise solutions, Holographs, which is a supply chain management solution platform, right? And Mizzle itself, which is a cloud platform, which helps developers deploy applications on cloud with zero DevOps experience or with even no code experience, right? So without code, they're able to deploy the solutions. So that's what we've been trying to do. Yeah.
What motivated you to pursue multiple ventures?
Right. So I mean, what we found out that once we did a venture, we realized that one thing is not enough to drive the adoption of blockchain. Blockchain is not it's not like it's not a problem. It's not a solution, right? It's a technology. The technology itself needs to be enabled for solving a particular problem. So what we do is we have solutions and we have the technology and we merge them so that we can actually create value for the enterprise or the end consumer, which is actually trying to do the adoption. For them, if we don't bridge this gap, we will never be able to actually create mass adoption. That is what the target of the whole industry is.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that now on your token 2049,
Yeah.
can you
Yes.
share me a little bit insights about this event? Because I know it is super huge in cryptocurrency and
Of course.
there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all hype, very, very hype. We just came here from KBW, which is Korea Blockchain Week. I mean, that was amazing for us. We had a side event ourselves. Then we are here at Token. We have a booth here. I mean, all the side events. I think there are more than 800 side events happening. It's physically not possible to go to all the side events. We partner in some of the side events. I spoke to a couple of panels yesterday. I'm doing a few panels tomorrow. So yeah, I mean that's it's all happening very fast here. Of course, the thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs with very brilliant projects that are there are all here. I mean, we're doing a lot of partnerships. I think we're closing like 10 partnerships a day. So it's all very hyped. I mean, everything's happening so fast.
Is it your first trip to Singapore or no?
No, this is not my first trip to Singapore. I've been to Token before. I mean, we've done Token last year. We've done Token in Dubai, and this
True,
is
me
this.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
I was last year and I was in Dubai also. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing, right? Yeah.
Yes, I know. It's really, and I am
How
really
was it for you?
I'm really happy to be inside events in Token, like a podcast, because you're my guest in Token in this year. And I really like to share and really interesting guests who can help in tech, because I'm involved in tech more than 10 years and I'm like this industry. I like to artificial intelligence. I like crypto. I like all this. That's why
Right,
my podcast is about digital fashion,
right,
some decentralized, something interesting projects.
right,
I want
right.
to, I want to ask you, what your personal value or your philosophy to drive your build this tech businesses, not one, three businesses.
Right. Yes. See, the fundamentals are very simple. We build solutions to solve problems. We prospect our customers who are directly in relationship with us or whom we want to cater. We identify a target audience that we want to solve that problem for, and we customize and we build solutions for them, right? And that's the reason why we've been able to see mass adoption. I mean, we have directly touched base with more than 1.4 billion users. That's more than the entire crypto market. And we brought them on blockchain. So I mean, we've done some level of work in some areas. Somewhere we found that if we don't solve problems, people don't want your solution. There will always be people standing against you. You will have regulatory problems. You will have so many problems, right? And the way against that is only one. It's to solve the problem, bring value to the customer, and the customer fights with you for adoption.
Thank you. What was the Intel inspiration behind Teledgers?
Oh yeah. See, the inspiration was very simple, right? We had a conversation with the regulators in India. See, if you know a bit of how financial frauds work, I'll give you an idea. In across the globe, if somebody wants to do a scam, the easiest way is to send mass messages, bulk messages, and put a link there, which will be a fraud link or a phishing link, and then in bulk, people will click on that link and get scammed. I mean, that is one of the largest scams happening across the globe. It's not in one country. And there hasn't been a bigger and easier way of doing scams before this. And what we found was if we really want to affect and help people, the best way is to come out with a solution wherein we can work with the regulator itself to ensure that there is no financial fraud. And India has also come up with something called UPI, which is a very quick, easy payment application. So that made financial frauds much more easier, right? Because now anybody could pay anybody very easily just by putting in the phone numbers. Now, so that's another thing that was driving a lot of financial frauds. In fact, the size was so much that the entire fraud industry is bigger than the entire telecom industry itself. So our goal was we wanted to ensure that we can reduce the financial frauds. And in that case, we found that blockchain is the best solution because if you want to ban something across multiple organizations, multiple telecom operators, and ensure that they are actually banning the messages, you have to use something like blockchain because otherwise you cannot ensure that they are actually banning it, right? I mean, you can ask them to ban it and it will be optional, and they get paid for every message. So for me, if I'm getting paid, why will I not get paid for something, right? So as a telecom operator, they were not doing it actually. They were not taking, there is a financial disincentive for them to block messages. So we created a mechanism. And in fact, with our solution, they've been able to increase their bottom lines by 40%. So which means they are actually making money with us. So yeah, I mean, that's how you have to design solutions. You need to understand the industry and work with them and design solutions. Yeah.
I see that you fireburn your idea, but I want to ask you how you come up this idea and why you choose this way of your life.
Right. See, again, the reason is the motivation is very simple. We ourselves have seen this in our own ecosystems, friends and families. I mean, somebody we know has gotten fraudulent messages, clicked on it. I myself have seen this back in 2020, 2018, 2019. When I got messages, I clicked on it, and it is such an easy scam, right? You just click on it, it'll give you to a payment link, and the users will pretend. I mean, the scammers will pretend to be from some organization that right? There will be a banker or somebody like that on the other end, and it will seem so obvious. So you'll do it, and then you get fraudulent. You get defrauded, right?
Yes, true. How you will see the future in telecom, for example, from 5 or 10 years?
Right.
In Dubai
So
and
yeah.
Singapore, maybe it's different.
Right. Yes. Yes. So we've been working with Etisalat also. Very closely and do tell. So we see a very large market in this. We're also in talks with CITC, which is Saudi Arabia Telecom regulator, Saudi Arabia's regulator, and STC. In fact, in one of our products, STC's head of network is our advisor as well. So we've been working very closely with few of the telecom operators. We have very close relationships with the telco industry, and we are aggressively looking at the Middle East market and the Southeast Asian market. Indonesia, in fact, actually, Indonesia and Philippines are the most scammed and spammed countries in the world.
Indonesia.
So yes, they are actually. So I mean, they are very, very important markets for us. We are aggressively looking at them. Yes.
Okay, okay, good. And how you see the future of VR and AR? It's where it's more popular from 5 years also.
Yeah, I mean, I see that in telecom. See, why is telecom so important? Let's look at it like that, right? The whole internet is running on telecom, right? We don't see telecom too much or don't think of it too much because it has become so intrinsic part of our lives. But we are able to do this call because there is internet service provider running behind, which is actually enabling the call to actually happen, right?
Yeah.
And similarly, the whole internet infrastructure is telecom actually. So if you can introduce blockchain in the telecom ecosystem, you introduce blockchain everywhere. You get the whole internet decentralized. See, this is the only way you can actually do it. And that is why it is so important, right? And I the point is that the whole crypto thing might not work with the telecom guys. So we have decided that to go non-crypto side and purely solutioning and using blockchain as a technology for them to decentralize the whole internet and bifurcate into pieces. Another thing is with 5G, actually the whole internet is already getting decentralized. So that is how 5G works. 5G has created something called edge computing and a few other important technology innovations, which actually ensures that the internet could get decentralized. They have spectrum splicing and so many other things inside the whole 5G ecosystem. And of course, we see that 6G also might bring on something like this.
Mhm.
And I think the telecom themselves are coming on a different path to decentralization. And I think we would want to merge that with blockchain and enable the whole process.
Okay, thank you. And what's the role of Digilion play in the future of VR?
A future of VR.
VR, yes, VR and AR.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question, right? I mean, I personally think, see, we have one of the largest companies in the world change their names to Meta, right? Facebook changed their names to Meta. That should be the biggest symbol to the world that this is coming. We can talk, we can believe it, we may not believe it. Look at Meta Quest 3, look at Apple Vision Pro. They are fantastic products. People who've used them, they know that these are fantastic products. I mean, Apple wasn't very affordable in 1980s, right? So yeah, of course, today they are a bit expensive. But as pricings come down, as mass productions happen, as we've seen in other industries, we will see this come down to a normal user level.
Mhm.
And I think the future of gaming is inside VR. The future of gaming is there. I think we'll spend a lot more time inside the VR in 3 to 5 years to come. And AI merged with VR is going to create, intelligent and non-playable characters,
Mhm.
wherein AI-based characters will be there inside the VR. You'll be able to interact with them as well as humans, which are again roaming around. And of course, the advertising industry also coming inside the VR would also increase a lot of money inside the whole game, wherein you could actually be getting paid as well for spending time inside the virtual reality. So that is one side of the VR, right? And of course, AR on the other end is going to get much more prevalent. We will start having more interactive visual experiences. I mean, you could have an experience wherein we are chatting and the whole rooms are designed by ARs. I mean, yeah, I mean, again, this is the whole thing that is coming in itself. Yeah.
Because a lot of projects put AR in decentralized in NFT program system and so on.
Yes,
Because
right, right.
VR everywhere, also Apple VR.
Hmm.
Some
Yeah, Vision Pro, yes.
yes, and I think it's our future. For example, instead of our smartphone, we can use just glasses with VR.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we'll need. Yes, I do agree. I mean,
Your
that's the
com-
future.
your company is about future.
Right. Yes, yes, it is.
Can you what's I know about Mizzle company, your third
Hmm.
company, Mizzle.
Right.
And what inspired to creation Mizzle, and what sets it apart in the deep in
Right.
space?
Right. So I'll give you a brief idea of the deep in space itself, right? I mean, I think before helium, nobody was talking about the space a lot. Helium was one of the first products that, again, it's a routing protocol, so you can put a router, and those are modules, right? Deepin is actually a subset of RWAs. RWAs are real world assets, and deepins are money making real world assets, if you have to say. These are usually, for example, some businesses, or it could be unused infrastructure which is already there, which is now getting decentralized. It was very hard to start a telecom operator yourself
Mhm.
because you would have to put in towers, you'd have to put in so many things, right? So much infrastructure that goes on it. Now you can have the community buy into it, and that would actually help you put up that infrastructure. So that is the beauty of Deepen. It's the RWA that actually makes money, and it the cost starts going down as the platform increases, and the amount of money that the platform can make starts increasing as the platform increases. So it's actually like a business in itself, and decentralized that too. So it's a very safe RWA to invest in with higher returns. Now, the second aspect is how does the compute and storage come in? See, today, when we come to storing data, right?
Mhm.
I mean, of course, blockchain is all about storing data, encrypted data, storing it safely, and so many other things, right? Immutably. The matter that we see is that storage will increase every day, right? If today you're storing 100 GB, tomorrow you're going to store 120 GB, and day after tomorrow you're going to store 150 GB. It is going to exponentially increase. You can't go down on storage. I mean, even look at your own phones, right? You always increase on the storage. You never go down on storage. You can't delete data from your phone.
Mhm.
This is not possible. Similarly goes for the companies. Your banks cannot delete the data that they have for users. They have to keep on increasing the data. So the demand is increasing at a never ending rate, and the supply is not there. I mean, who's there to supply all of the storage? So only two players, AWS and Google, are the players, the largest players in the world. AWS, Google, and Azure, let's say. So, I mean, the market is very small. So what we're trying to do is to help ensure that the supply side is also there and everything is at reasonable rates, right? I mean, Apple charges their users $75 a month to store extra few GBs on iCloud. So, I mean, the consumption is already established,
Mhm.
that it is there. Now, what we want to do is help people bring in their hardware and store the data encryptedly. Because if the data is not encrypted, anybody can hack into the ecosystem. Yeah.
But I have questions is, how does Mizzle plan to compete with traditional cloud providers like Google Cloud or Azure?
Right.
By
Right.
how?
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we want to compete with them? See, it's all about collaboration in a lot of ways. We have partnerships with some of the major data centers, right? Wherein we are buying the capacity from. It's not like the capacity is not there. As well as that, we have a provider ecosystem. So, for example, you can buy a hardware yourself from HP or Dell or any of the hardware providers, and you can take it to our data centers, our partner data centers, and which are more than 100 across the globe. And that hardware will be available for enterprises to consume. So, we actually have a deep in ecosystem wherein everybody can bring in their own hardwares into the network, and that will get monetized by enterprises consuming them, and they get paid. Of course, the enterprises get to use hardware at a cheaper cost because these individuals would be happy at a lower returns than what Azure or a large company like Google would want, right? I mean, they have a lot of internal costs that go into running their own organizations, right? So, but we are able to cut down that cost by having people bring in the hardware themselves and having a decentralized platform, which is actually doing a lot of work.
So interesting, really.
Right.
Because for some people it's really difficult, but by the way, it's really our future, and we need to understand some details how it's working. It's really
Right. Yeah, of course, right. Of course. I mean, now, see, it's so easy when you actually start looking at it and understanding it. That you know what the problem was, that we couldn't build such large data centers anymore, and you could just get normal people to become. See, how does Subway become the largest sandwich chain across the world, right?
yeah.
Because they gave out franchises. They let people own smaller stores, right? McDonald's lets people own stores, so you can't do everything yourself as an organization. And that was what limiting the larger cloud players. We opened that limit by creating a kind of a franchisee model for these guys, wherein even smaller players can come up with lesser capital and put in their own stores there. And then that is also starting to generate revenue for them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a different way of looking at it, right?
Yeah. By the way, my podcast name of Revelations. That's why
Right.
now I want to ask you some revelations questions about your business. Because I reveal some secrets of my guests, of course.
Okay.
Can you share me some moments of your journey where you faced a significant failure and how you shape your approach or to entrepreneurship? Can you
Right.
share some interesting failure in your life in
Yeah,
this
of course.
business? Because all people know and see the picture how it's successful, but I
Right.
think we want to know how it's not successful.
Right. Right. So I'll give some of the journeys in the starting. Right. So I dropped out of my college, and my university was is one of the premier universities in India. It's called NIT Rourkela. And I mean, dropouts are considered so fancy in our world, but it's not an easy journey. Once you drop out, you're really in the real world. So we got funded by a few investors, and then those investors backed out. So that's when you start to realize how the real world really works. It's never it's not so easy when you get there. And I had a team of maybe 10 to 15 people. You take on these responsibilities as you grow as an entrepreneur, and then you start realizing that they are actually your responsibilities. So you struggle, you work hard, you do everything that you can to sustain the survival. In your own physical body starts to kick in. You
Mhm.
start learning how to cut costs. Again, sometimes you can read a lot about doing business in books, but learning it in real life itself, that teaches you the that's those are the hard lessons, very hard lessons. Apart from that, I mean, of course, we've seen a lot of competition. Telecom is not easy market. It's a very small, very precise market. These are tough markets to get in. I mean, telecom, oil and gas are two legacy markets, right? You can't just go into telecom and provide a solution. I mean, I when I say I process messages, I can see people's OTPs, right? The messages, I can see people's banking passwords, because I mean everything goes through me. I can really read the messages, and this is not. I mean, of course, we create security layers over it. We created a reputation that, of course, we will ensure that security will be there. So it is a lot of hard work and consistent work, right? And what I have realized, and the only thing that I would like to pass out, is that you have to be very consistent with what you're trying to do. If you're
Mhm.
not consistent, you can't achieve what you're trying to do. So of course you'll keep on failing every day, and then suddenly you've done something, one small thing, and then you keep failing again, and then you've done second step, and that's how the whole journey goes.
Yeah, it's true. It's not easy journey, but now you enjoy this, right?
Yeah, of course. You start enjoying these failures, right? You start enjoying everything that happens in your life.
Yeah, it's true. You've been working several industries, I think three, right?
Yeah.
And which sector do you feel is most good for disruption by blockchain or the DEX tech? How do you think?
Right. See, with telecom, we're solving a very precise and specific problem, right? We're trying to decentralize the whole internet. Now, with the other ones, I believe that with enterprise adoption, the
Mhm.
one that we're doing in Digilion, right? That's where the actual adoption will come in. But to do that, you still need the cloud infrastructure and other modules. So, I mean, all three are equally important and play their own role in the whole ecosystem. It's a very strategically planned step that we've taken, that we will do these three things. What we believe in is enterprise adoption cannot happen if you don't take away the crypto element in it.
Mhm.
You need to take away the crypto element from it. Only then, see, Web 2 guys, or if you want to bring in the Web 2 generation to it, right? Imagine how would your parents feel when they actually have to download MetaMask, set up the seed phrase password,
Oh.
and and use this. So I mean, getting that generation onto this ecosystem is not going to be easy. And so we need to create a seamless experience, and that is what we're targeting. I mean, of course, we want to have the products where they give incentives to users, but we want to make it seamless. And I do understand why the governments want to are having such an anti-crypto stand, because it is leading in certain ways to money laundering, and there are organizations which are not subject to any regulatory processes, and then you see something like an FTX happen. Of course, unfortunate, but that also lets us know that we have to go a long way in our own industry, right? And I think our products are very strategically planned. They all three are equally important, but enterprise adoption is what will drive the next billion users again into crypto. There is no other way. You have to get the enterprises, because they're already selling things, right? They're already having the consumer base. If Starbucks starts giving their own points in cryptos, then every Starbucks user is actually a crypto user, right? So that's those companies, till the time they start using it, we cannot build this whole industry in silos. So yeah, I mean that's what is very important.
How many people work in your companies?
Okay, so all the companies combined, we would be looking at. I think when we were the highest, we were more than 250 people. We would right now. I mean, we would be lesser. We would be around 160, 170 what people. Yeah,
And how do you find the right talent in your company?
it's
And
very hard.
how
It's
you
so hard.
what's about strategy for building a really professional team?
Right. So, I mean, because of my own technological background, and I was a coder myself. I was a contributor to Hyperledger. I was a contributor to a few of the major open source blockchain development work that happened. So I had a good network of people who were very interested in contributing, right? But what I have found is there's a lot more in running a business, right? So you need to find the right legal guy. You need to find the right accounting guy. You need to find the right BDs. You need to find the right community managers
Mhm.
and PR experts. So finding the whole ecosystem, it takes a lot of time and energy, and you should not really go to the first guy that you found. So processes play a large role in running the companies long term. I mean, we've run these companies for years now. Our telecom
Mhm.
company has been enabled for 5 years. So for sustaining that long, you need to have processes in place, systems in place. I mean, we have never delayed a salary in years. I mean, I have never had any of my guys ever say that, you know what, we didn't get a salary on time, or we didn't have this. So I mean, those are some of the things that you have to start making sure that you don't fall out of. Yeah.
Really. And I like people who want to work without salary. But sometimes it's unimpossible. Just maybe it's a special program from after university.
Right.
Can you share an example of time
Right.
when an
No, of
unexpected
course. I mean, we want the best talent to work with us.
uh, yeah. Can you share an example a time when an
Yeah.
unexpected challenge led a breakthrough idea in your companies, one of your companies?
All right. So I'll give you one of the cases. We had a case of a competitor, kind of stealing one of our products, right? So I mean, this happens in business, and smaller markets. This happens a lot. Tightly closer market happens a lot. So what we realized was cybersecurity was one of the big issues we realized internally in the organization, and that's one of the other reasons why we actually were inspired for Mizzle. What we realized was code standardization is a big issue. And till the time the developers or certain sections of organization has control over the codes of the system, it is not safe, right? And you want to make sure that your own developers are coding in a standardized way. If I mean, why would you want random codes to come in the whole ecosystem? So, and today we have AI already generating modules of code. So
Mhm.
what we realized was you can use AI in a lot more way than we are currently using,
Mhm.
and we can use that for code standardization. And that's one of the major modules inside Mizzle. So, I mean, our own experience inspired us to ensure that you don't give developers too much control over your own business, because again, business is very different from a product or code itself. So again, that's another way we can mitigate risk. And of course, idea comes in from the problems that you keep facing, right? Every new idea comes from there only. It's somehow you face a problem in your life, and then you see, oh, you know what, we can have a solution for this, right?
Okay. Thank you. What's the next milestones you're working toward?
Okay. Some of the milestones that we're working towards is major adoption in Mizzle. We believe that enterprise adoption will really, I mean, play a major role. We have some of the partnerships with, we're working on partnership with across the globe, more than 50 odd telecom operators right now. Of course, we are hoping that they will close in a year. Our TGE might come in Q2 next year. So that's one of the major, of course, thing that we're looking out for. And in other products, we're looking at some major government implementations in blockchain. In Digilion, we're looking at a couple of major government implementations in India and across the globe as well, wherein we will shift again some major user base onto blockchain by directly the government deploying blockchain themselves. We believe that's a good way. Yeah, that's a couple of major milestones that we're looking at.
If founder believe in idea, that belief come true?
Of course, see, keep working towards it, right? Of course, you can't do anything apart from that. As a founder, you believe in an idea,
Yeah.
in a portion of an idea, and then you keep on working towards it. And you fail, of course. We might fail in our approach, and we find out the mistake. We make sure that our investors understand that we were diligent. We didn't intentionally do it, and even the investors understand, and they help you get over with it. And then the point is that once you've made a mistake, it is a mistake if you only made it once. If you make it again, that is the bigger problem, right? Then you have not learned from it. You have to learn from your mistakes. So we keep on learning from our mistakes and keep on evolving, and then hopefully someday, we're an optimist, right? That's what the entrepreneur is.
It's true. I understand. Yeah, it's really true.
Right.
I have a lot of questions, but we have a big time. Yeah. I have two questions important for me. The first question I want to ask you, what message would you like to give for companies, for developers who want to involve in Mizzle ecosystem?
Right. See, we have a very, very secure ecosystem, and we enable trusted execution environments. We have a cybersecurity framework in place. So, like a developer would use a React JS or a Django framework to cut down their coding time, you should use our framework to ensure that your products are secured. That's what we've been building at Mizzle, a cybersecurity framework that ensures that, as well as an easy deployment mechanism that ensures that your applications are secure themselves. And that is what will help those developers ensure their own customers the right value. If you do not, if you don't take it from us, take it from somebody else who's done similar thing, right? This is the next step of how development ecosystem should work now. And we've seen the Web 2 companies work towards it. We've seen Web 3 companies work towards it. Akash Networks is also taking some steps towards it. There are a few players who are trying to do something similar. And the developers should do their own due diligence. But I think what we've come up with is something way ahead of the market right now. I think we would be at least a year and a half ahead of the market. So they should look at the products themselves and evaluate it. Yeah.
Thank you. And what about your big idea in this life?
Okay.
Not
big idea.
Not about business, not about something personal, just big idea of you.
Okay. So we also a few years back, because we also run a consulting company, right, with enterprises, and one of the major food delivery applications was our partner in India. We worked also on this idea, which was a drone-based project. And of course, I think drone deliveries are something that fascinate us as some of the founders. We're a bunch of people internally who have these brainstorming sessions where we do. And I think apart from the blockchain ecosystem and all of these ecosystems, definitely would want to explore how the hardware business and how the drone delivery business would work if it really pans out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the time. I hope you enjoy your token event in Singapore. And I know that you have a lot of meetings and speaking.
Thank you so much for hosting me.